Some things age poorly, some things age really, really well. And some things, when you look back on them, are very, very revealing, are they not? Joe Biden and the Biden family corruption's all in the news today because of the GOP finally getting to look at that form. And as I learned about the Biden family corruption today, I can't help but think back to this video we've seen so many times.
And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired.
Look at that. He was going to hold back your tax dollars unless they fired a prosecutor. I know you've seen that before, but man, that video just got a whole lot more interesting today, didn't it? Joining me now, Senator from the great state of Wisconsin, Ron Johnson. Senator, okay, Congress has been going back and forth with the FBI over a document alleging Joe Biden did this, Hunter Biden did that. Apparently they were allowed to look at it today. It makes that video awfully interesting, doesn't it?
It does. Senator Grassley and I, in our investigation in 2021, which was interfered with by the FBI, by the way, we pretty well laid out a vast web of foreign financial entanglements of the Biden family, involving Hunter and James and Sarah Biden as well. Now, what James Comer has done, he's added to that record. Now we know of some schemes in Romania. And now we have this whistleblower coming forward saying about a $5 million transfer. In some way, shape, or form, sounds like a pretty convoluted way it got to Vice President Biden in exchange for some kind of policy consideration. So we don't know. It's an allegation. But I agree with Senator Grassley that one of the questions that need to be answered here: what did the FBI do with this? Because that particular FBI confidential human source form is filled out in June of 2020. Senator Grassley also has whistleblowers saying that in August 2020, they developed a scheme to downplay the derogatory information of Hunter Biden. That was the same month that the FBI gave both Senator Grassley and I an unsolicited briefing, basically trying to warn us off the Hunter Biden investigation, saying we are targets of Russian disinformation, trying to taint what we were trying to do as well. So, by the way, they then leaked that briefing in May of 2021 to smear me, thereby interfering in the Wisconsin 2022 Senate election. So, again, the corruption seems to be running pretty deep, at least at the heads of some of these agencies.
Senator, I mean, if you'll forgive me, you're a United States Senator, so is Chuck Grassley. That obviously is an extremely important position. It frightens me how bold they are. It's not like they're picking on me or some Joe Schmo walking down the sidewalk. They're pretty in your face as a United States Senator. What am I supposed to take from that? This is America's preeminent federal law enforcement arm. Clearly they think they're over you?
Well, certainly liberals in government are arrogant about their power. It has been, Congress has willingly granted its constitutional authority to the executive branch for decades, I think, quite honestly, to avoid accountability themselves. But our oversight capability has been dramatically reduced because we have very few enforcement mechanisms, and they understand that, and they take advantage of that. And so they don't turn over documents. I had to subpoena Christopher Wray. He didn't give me squat, and this is when he's working for President Trump, and President Trump wanted the information turned over to us, but we still never got it. Now you're seeing what's happening with James Comer as well. So, no, this should trouble every American. The government works for the people. The government should be transparent. The American public deserves to know so much of this information. Now, listen, I understand investigations. You need to keep those things confidential, and there's certain equities there. But in general, government needs to be transparent, and the executive agencies are not.
They are not, and you're right, they need to be. So how exactly, give us a blueprint. I understand there's only so much you can do with the Senate being how it is and the President of the United States being who he is. But let's assume those things might change. How do we change this? How do we stop this? If we have a secret police agency in America, America's done. This is not a small thing. It's a nation-ending thing unless this problem is fixed.
Well, the blueprint is what we've been following. It just is arduous and takes a long time. But, you know, we did hearings on lowest learners when Obama weaponized the IRS against Tea Party groups. We certainly did our investigation of Hillary Clinton email scandal. We uncovered the FBI exoneration memo and the editing of that memo to exonerate her. You know, we've done our investigation to the corrupt and fraudulent investigation into Trump collusion. So we are investigating these things. The people that do wrong, they try and hide the evidence. They're very good at hiding the evidence, but we expose it. And more information is coming out. More and more of the truth is being exposed. I know, trust me, nobody can out-frustrate me, but we are getting a rather large body of evidence, certainly showing how corrupt the Biden family is, certainly showing how corrupt certain higher-ups in the FBI, Department of Justice, now intelligence committees or community. I mean, 51 intelligence officials signing that letter that interfered in our election to a far greater extent than anything Russia ever could have done. So again, this is out in the public domain, but what we have not been able to expose much or certainly have much of an impact on is the mainstream media. They are compliant, they are complicit, and they are corrupt, and they're a bunch of leftists themselves. They advocate for the left, and that's a real problem in democracy. I want a free press, but I want an unbiased free press that holds both sides accountable. The media will hold Republicans accountable, and they'll do everything they can to cover up for Democrats.
Yeah, that's a fact. You have another whistleblower involving Hunter in the IRS. Do I have that right?
Correct. Yeah, so there's a whistleblower that came forward and talked about how the entire investigatory team, the IRS investigatory team on the Hunter Biden tax evasion investigation was pulled off. I talked to a former head of the criminal division in the Senate Finance Committee, and in his 30 years, I asked him, is that unusual? Have you ever seen an entire team pulled off a case? Never. So it's pretty much unprecedented. And now we also know that a deputy IRS commissioner sent an email talking about, supposedly they're going to protect people against retaliation if they blew the whistle, but they completely left out what is required, the anti-gag rule, informing the employees of agencies that they have every right to report to Congress, to whistleblow to Congress, waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption. And so Chuck Grassley and I have written to IRS Commissioner Werfel demanding that they reissue that memo and make sure they disclose the anti-gag provision and make IRS employees aware of the fact they have every right and have whistleblower protection to come to Congress and tell us the truth. And we need a lot more whistleblowers. There's a lot of corruption throughout federal health agencies, federal law enforcement. We need people coming forward so we can expose the truth so the American public understands it.
Amen. Senator, go get him. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
The Anti-Communist Manifesto, a new must-read book from Jesse Kelly. Get your copy today at jessekellybook.com or wherever books are sold.